Okay, this is a bonus recording. This is absolutely nothing to do with my game. I want to be talking about my adoption story. So I've already started talking about it in the game, and I'm like, okay, so what is it? It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. I haven't been able to fall asleep. There's something that is keeping me awake. See if I can fix the camera a little bit. Okay. I don't know if I can fix this or not. Okay. Let me tell everybody. I am streaming to complete this story. Come on. Can I not? STORY. Yeah, right. Like I'm I pretend to be an English major, but no, I'm a moron. So anyway, so here's the story. So I'm gonna tell you my story. Okay. What is this crap that's on my? I'm looking at the camera, looking at the stream feedback that I'm getting. Wait a minute. Yeah, so it says. So apparently I'm recording, okay? And it was showing this weird kind of, oh, there it is again. What the heck is that? Come on, don't do that. There's this weird thing on my forehead. This kind of like the rebel insignia on my forehead. I'm like, no. Yeah, I'm totally on the rebel side. I am not on the Imperial Navy side, all right? Except for when I'm playing TIE Fighter. When I play TIE Fighter, I am totally on the Imperial side. When I play TIE Fighter, oh my MG, I am totally on the side of the Emperor Palpatine because you play the. What is with my forehead? Let me pull back from the camera a little bit. Maybe that'll help. Did that help? Do I not have this kind of blue, purple thing? What the heck is on my forehead? Look at this. No. What is this? I'm seeing in my hand. Again, wow. I had this kind of like this purple blue stuff. Again, just maybe might just be a something in my imagination that I saw this weird stuff on my forehead. I saw this weird stuff in my hand. But now I think we're okay. So I just had to kind of back away from the camera. So, I'm going to riff. Okay. So this is what I do when I don't have a script, right? So I'm not a monetized channel. I just say what I want to say. And you know what? Y'all get what you paid for. Y'all get what you paid for. I didn't charge you anything. You're not paying anything for my channel, right? Yeah. Sadly, YouTube monetizes. No do. You know, okay. I'm going to take a pause. I will tell you about the ad that YouTube is playing right now that I absolutely hate. There's one ad that I hate that YouTube plays. And I cannot control if this ad is going to play in my videos or not. And I really wish they would stop playing this ad on my videos. On my videos, the content that I create for YouTube, and they are monetizing without my consent. And you know what it is? It's the fat Google people. YouTube, Google, Yeah, we're gonna be a playing me. Yeah, we're gonna be a playing. Yeah, we're a bunch of fatties. And it's these fat people that are, oh, and our phones are gonna prevent you from getting spam. But meanwhile, when you're watching Gray's videos, we're spamming you. We're making you watch our spam, and there's no way that you can fast forward apart our videos because you're forced to watch our videos. Oh yeah, we're fat. We're fat and we're fabulous. Oh, we're fat and we're fabulous. Like, really? F you. I didn't ask you to promote my video. I didn't ask you anything. But there you go. That's part of the new YouTube creator thing that I'm supposed to agree to. So if I want to have a video on the YouTube platform, I have to agree that they're going to have these, sorry, fatties. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm being mean. I'm not being nice. I know. Okay. Okay. Just forgive me. Okay. All right. Just let's just like you and I, let's let this thing go. Okay. So let's just let this thing go like water coming off of our face, water going off of the side, and we're just gonna kind of let it go. And we're not gonna, you know, kind of think about the YouTube fatties because, yeah, they're, yeah. Oh, but we're not trying to be body conscious. No, you are. You are. Okay. So, okay. Taking a deep breath. Deep breath. Okay. All right. Let's take a deep breath. Okay. Where was I going with this? Oh, that's right. I was going with my adoption story. So I was in the game. I was in my game, and I was telling somebody about my adoption story, which you can see a little bit in the background here, behind my crappy video, behind my crappy face. I'm sorry. I'm not a very attractive man to look at, so I'm sorry. Um, yeah, I need a haircut. I need to. I've had this kind of like this COVID thing going on. Oh my God, I probably shouldn't have said that word because now I'm going to be flagged. I'm going to be red tagged. We're going to say, oh, you said that word. AI is going to say, oh, you said that word. Well, what else is he going to say? Is he going to say something bad about our grandma? I'm not going to say his name. His name rhymes with Mouchy or Grand Mouth, Grand Moff. What's that guy's name? Grand Moff Tarkin, right? Grand Marf Tauchi? Yeah, right. Is that what he's going to talk about? Because if he says that guy's actual name, oh, we're gonna red flag him because we cannot have our Lord and Savior, uh, you know, kind of. No, we cannot have him possibly diminished and cannot have his name besmirched. I'm like, okay, you know, my Lord and Savior is up there, not not on the earth, not a government guy, okay, down there. My guy, my guy is up. My guy is up there, okay? So I'm not gonna. I don't talk about this in my channel. Again, I try to keep my channel clean of political and religious content, but Those of you who know me and who interact with me, you know, you kind of know where I stand. I'm not shy about saying what I believe if you ask me. I don't force my opinions on anybody who plays my game. I want to be very clear. Nobody who plays my game is going to be forced to agree with me or not. We have plenty of people who play my game who disagree with me. That's okay. They disagree with me on politics. They disagree with me on religion. I'm sorry. Again, oh my gosh, I'm a little, wow. It's almost 7 o'clock in the morning. I still haven't fallen asleep. I've got this thing right now where I have a real hard problem falling asleep. Anyway, so somebody disagrees with me on politics or on religion, like they don't have a religion or they have something completely different. You know what? I agree. I meet that person where they are. Okay. So I will meet that person where they are. I don't care if you agree with me or not. If you disagree with me and you are, let's say you are a person who is on the spectrum that is complete opposite from me, okay, politically, or you are on a spectrum that is completely opposite from me on religion. You know what? That's okay. Um, Now, obviously, I want you to personally. I would prefer that you would think about these things and consider what I have to say, and maybe some of the things that I say might influence you, but you're playing my game and your opinions and the way and where you're coming from, the place that you're coming from, um, you know, that that is between you and the Almighty. That is I have nothing to do with that. So, and in fact, I will tell you, um, and this is where I'm going to get into my story. So I was going to be talking about my adoption story. So let's go. Let's get into it, and I'm going to tell you about my adoption story and what I'm about to tell you. Everything that I've just said over the last period of time over this video is about to make sense. Okay, let's go. By the way, I am recording. Okay, I just wanted to verify because what I'm about to say, um, well, kind of personal. It is. It is very personal. But I want, um, I want people to know that what I'm about to say is available for many, many states in the United States of America. Not all 50, not all 50, okay, but there's a lot. Like I would say about half of them. What I'm about to talk about is available, okay? Yeah, certificates. Ligoian just was talking about birth certificates, and what I'm going to talk about is exactly about that. So I'm going to talk about that. So here's my story. So I'm going to talk about my story, and I'm going to talk about how my story concluded. And maybe some of you will be amazed. Maybe some of you will be inspired. I would encourage those of you who are in the situation that I was in. I'm going to encourage you to seek professional help before you go down the road that I did, because I sought professional help. Okay. So let's talk about it. So I was given up for adoption as an infant. Okay. So what I later found out was that my birth mother was unmarried. Okay. She was, at the time that I was born, she was 19 years old. My birth father, they were not married. He was 18. Okay, so she was 19, he was 18. He was scared shitless. Okay, I'm sorry to use that word, but that is accurate. And I had a conversation with him, so I was able to talk to him, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So she had me when she was 19 years old. And it turns out I was not her first kid that she gave up for adoption. I have a brother 2 years older than me. I have no idea who he is. He's 2 years older than me. So if she was 19 when she gave birth to me, she was 17 when she gave birth to him. And oh, by the way, it's the same birth father. Okay. So she hooked up for my birth father with this guy. She gave birth to my older brother when she was 17. Okay. And then she gave birth to me when she was 19. And both of them were scared, right? So now keep in mind, and I have to be very clear. I was born prior to Roe versus Wade. Thank God. Thank God that happened. Because if I was born, if I was conceived after Roe v. Wade, I would not be speaking to you today. I guarantee you. Okay? So back then, Roe v. Wade was not yet in effect, and it was taboo to have an abortion and to have a child out of wedlock. Now, that last part really bothered my birth mother, right? So she was in a situation where it was embarrassing to have a child out of wedlock. So here she is. She's 19 years old. She's with child. The birth father is a year younger than her. They're not married, and it's just embarrassing back then, right? So she had to kind of conceal it, right? Well, it unfortunately for her, somebody ratted out on her and told her parents, "Oh, by the way, did you know that your child is with child?" you know, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Come back! We're hauling you back in. We're pulling you out of the situation." And yeah, it was embarrassing for her, right? So, but for the love of God, she now at the time that she gave birth to me. Now, keep in mind, she was raised originally as a Christian person. Okay. Now, again, the point of this video, I am not trying to impose my religious views on anybody. Okay. So, as I am talking about this, I'm talking about my personal experience. I am not trying to impose anything on anybody that is watching this video. I'm just talking about my personal experience. And you know what? You believe what you wish to believe. Okay. So if you are not a Christian and you don't believe in God, you don't believe in Jesus, whatever it is that you believe, you be you, okay? So this is not about me trying to impose my stuff on you. This is me just telling my story to you. You can take with it whatever you want, okay? You can throw it all away, right? You can say, "Oh gosh, this gray guy, right? He's an alcoholic." Yes, I am. I'm a sinner, okay? I'm a sinner, and so you can say, "You know what, this guy just just kind of make him go away." Okay, whatever. Believe what you want to believe. It's okay. But I'm going to tell you my story. So I'm going to complete my story, and you can take your own. Um, you can take whatever you want to get out of it for yourself. By the way, I need to shave. I need to. Oh my gosh, my beard! I am too fuzzy. I do need to do a trim. So, yeah, this is pretty bad. Oh, so I get back to my story. So, my birth mother, she finds out she's pregnant with me. She talks to my birth father. They're not married. They're not going to get married. And she threatens to abort me to him. She says, I may abort him. Fortunately, I happen to predate Roe versus Wade by a few years. Gosh, I don't remember the exact year. Was it 1974 or something like that? And I was born in the 1960s, late 1960s. So I predated Roe versus Wade by a few years, and thank the Lord, I survived what the Supreme Court did. Um, that killed, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it, millions, millions of kids have been um, affected by essentially my church calls it a Holocaust of kids. Um, anyway, so I survived that. I imagine I survived it, or I predated it by a couple of years. So I was born. My birth mother, even though she was an atheist, okay, when she was a kid, she was raised as a Christian. So her parents, for whatever reason, they raised her as a Christian kid. Now later in life she became an atheist. She rejected God and all that. But what she did for me, and I think what she did for my older brother, I don't know for sure because I've yet to meet him. I've yet to encounter him. I have no idea who he is. He's this person that maybe I could find him through Ancestry.com. Maybe I could find him through what I'm about to tell you about. Okay, I'm about to tell you about something that's very special. So, in any case, when she decided that she's going to not abort me, because again, back then, abortion was illegal. And back then, she was doing something that was not culturally acceptable. She was having a child outside of wedlock. Okay. So she took a huge, huge risk. So she was pregnant outside of wedlock, sorry. And she took the hit. She took the cultural, social hit for having me. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for. I would not. I would not be alive without her. So, so she, so she has me. She's in the hospital. Her, my birth father comes and visits her in the hospital bed, and she's holding me, and she's about to give me up for adoption. Okay. And she is saying, um, can't we just keep him? He's not going to eat much. He won't eat much. Can we just keep him? And my birth father, of course, being 18 years old, he's scared shitless. He does not have a job. He does not have a solid income. He has no way to provide for a kid. And she doesn't have a way to provide for a kid. They're both scared, right? They're both totally scared, and so they both know they can't support me, and so she decides, I'm gonna give this kid up for adoption, and I'm gonna give him to a Christian adoption agency. Just as I assume that she did with my older brother. I don't know for sure. I think that's probably what she did. I have no idea. She gave, even though she's an atheist and she did not like God, she did not like the Lord Jesus Christ, because she's an atheist. She rejected all of that, right? She rejected all of that. But she wanted me to have what she was raised with. She wanted me to be raised by a Christian family. I don't know why, but that's what she wanted. And she purposefully gave me to a Christian adoption agency. Think about that for a second, okay? So you think about a person who has rejected God for decades, but that person says, I want my child to be raised in a family that is going to ensure that this child will be raised in the Christian lifestyle. Even though she doesn't believe in it. So she doesn't believe in it, she doesn't follow it, she doesn't love God, she doesn't love Jesus, she doesn't love any of that. But she wanted her baby kid that she just gave birth to, that she's going to give away and she will never see again for the rest of her life. She wants that kid to be raised in this particular fashion. Just think about that for a second. Just think about that. Okay? So that's what she did for me. So years and years, like decades later, I'm in my, late 50s, late 40s, early 50s. I find out about this process that I'm about to describe in this video. The process I'm about to describe is available to people who have been adopted, like me. You have the ability to get access to your original birth certificate, unredacted, right? So for the entire 50, 50 years of my life, the first 40 years of my life in particular, sorry, I have to blow my nose. This is getting a little emotional. Sorry. So for the first 40 years of my life, I only have ever seen the birth certificate that was fake. Sorry, it was fake. So my certificate that I've had for the last 40 years of my life was fake. It was not my real mother. It was my adoptive mother. Yes, I know. She loves me. She's my I she's my mother for my entire life. The father that was listed on the birth certificate was the father that I had for my entire life. That is totally real, and that will never ever be taken away from them. Okay, never. So that part is real, but my name is fake. It's fake. My identity is fake, and I've never known well, I won't say. I have two identities, right? I have the identity that I have been raised and born with and lived with for, you know, 40, 40, 50 years of my life. That was my identity. That's the identity that I have today. When you log into CoreMud and you see in the welcome screen, you see the email address, you see the name of the administrator, it's me, right? That's my identity. You go into LinkedIn, you pull up my name, right? That's me. That's my identity. That is truly me, okay? But there's my other identity, which is what I was born with, what I was supposed to be, that was hidden from me until I did what I'm about to describe to you. Okay, drink time. Sorry. Okay, what am I about to describe? So I talked about how my birth father was scared, my birth mother was intimidated, and it was determined that I was to be given over to this Christian adoption agency when I was born. Okay, fine, that happened. So I was put up for adoption. My parents, adoptive parents, and then it's not fair to call them my adoptive parents because they're my parents. They've been my parents for my entire freaking life. Until cancer took them. Sorry. I hate cancer. Cancer is. Try not to use bad words. Cancer is evil. Okay. Cancer is taken. Sorry. Cancer has taken former loved ones from me. Mother, father, maternal grandfather, maternal grandmother. Cancer is evil. Anyway, so I'm talking about my parents. I'm talking about the people that adopted me, but they were. I'm not faking this. I'm not doing a coward. No. Okay. So if there's a NBA basketball players, like, oh, this guy is faking it. No, F you. F you. King James. No, you're like more pay King James, asshole. Yeah, pay King James. So anyway, when I talk about my parents, I'm really talking about the people who adopted me were my parents for my entire life. So these are the people that were my parents from as little as I can remember until they passed away. Okay. So, oh, I got loyalty credits. Nice. Okay. So, um, in any case, so, oh, you're seeing the dawn breaking behind me. So prior videos that you saw, the previous two is completely dark. Now you're seeing dawn break. It's great. So anyway, so um, so my birth mother put me up for adoption, right? My adoptive parents, who I call my parents, and they are, and they will forever be my parents. They've all, they, they're gone. Okay, cancer took them. I have a hate for cancer more than I hate the people that try to exploit my game. So I have a particular hate for people that try to exploit my game. I have a particular hate for people that try to troll my players. Okay, so those people I have zero tolerance for and zero forgiveness. Cancer is a completely different level. Okay, so if cancer is here, sorry, if exploiters is here, like, so somebody is trying to exploit my game, they're trying to troll my players, right? They're trying to cause trouble, right? It's about here. That's what Steve used to be, right? So Steve used to be about here. Cancer is effing about here. This is like at the so there is a thing in the game that I added this year in fiscal 2021. I added this thing called the gray rage scale. The gray rage scale can never fall before 1. Like, 1 is the minimum. It's impossible for gray rage to fall before 1. Sorry, I had a little hiccup. And 10. So 1 is gray, is mildly kind of angry, right? It goes from 1 to 10. 10 is when Gray nukes himself. Oh, no, I haven't gotten to a 10 yet. I've gotten to an 8. So anyway, yeah, if my rage scale gets to an 8, that's when I am a freaking dick. Anyway, so getting back to my story. So, talking about my adoptive parents. So, they got cancer, killed them off, right? Meanwhile, if we go back to when I was a little kid, and so my birth parents offered me up as a child. So, they basically went to the court and they signed all the paperwork and stuff to basically sign away their rights to me. And so I actually saw that paperwork later. I'm going to get to that in a moment. So they signed away their rights to me forever. Okay. So they basically said to the court, we are absconding our rights to this child. This child will be given to the adoption agency, right? And at this point, we no longer have any rights to this child. this child is no longer ours. And this child will be named by the adoptive family, and we have nothing to do with this child anymore. Okay. So that's one part of the story. And I'm not done yet. I am not done yet. So there's more. If you're a person who likes to drink, you need to grab another drink, because I am not done yet, and there's probably about another hour of this that I have to do. I have to do this. I have to do this. And part of this is because I want to help people who are in my situation that might not know that this is available, but it is. It is available. And it's available to you if you know what to do, and if you're prepared, and you have the help that you need. And this is very important, and I'm going to get to this in a few minutes. This is very important that you know the help that's available to you, and you need to avail yourself of this if you're going to attempt to go down to the road that I did. I'm not kidding. This is serious stuff, folks. This is very serious stuff. So when I was adopted, my original birth certificate, which I have not seen until about 3 years ago, said my first name was Baby Boy. That was my first name. Because my birth mother knew that she was giving me up for adoption, so she didn't bother giving me a first name. So my birth certificate literally said Baby Boy and the last name of the man that she was married to at the time. I'm not going to say it. Okay, I don't want to embarrass the family. There's a whole story behind that, so I'm not going to get into it. So basically, my birth certificate said my first name was Baby Boy. What was that? That was my original unrejected birth certificate. I did not see that until 3 years ago. Serious. My birth certificate said Baby Boy is my first name. That's it. Now, my mother. Yeah, the woman who adopted me. Sorry. Have to many times. Oh God. Sorry. Have to bear with me because I'm gonna be crying a lot. I'm gonna be crying a lot in this video. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I wanted this thing to be short, but this is gonna be a long video. This is gonna be another ball breaker. This is gonna be another ball breaker. So my mother, throughout my life, again, I call her my mother. Now, officially, she's my adoptive mother, but no, she's my mother. She's the woman who raised me. She's the woman who was my mother, because my blood mother had absolutely no role in my life other than giving me to the adoption agency. Okay, so once she gave me up to the adoption agencies, then she was out of my life until she died. And unfortunately, I didn't know about her until after she died. And I didn't know about her until actually a couple decades later, I guess, after she died. So, no, the woman who adopted me, that's my mother. So when I talk about my mother, I'm talking about um, if those of you who play my game, Cormud, and you run through the area called Shea Park, which is part of the newbie experience. There's a one particular room in that area. You can expect a particular thing in that area, like a fountain or a sound or a sign, and it's a memorial to my mom. My mom passed away, so so I made that area as a memorial for her. My dad passed away a few years later. I still need to make something for him, so I need to kind of figure out what I can do for my dad. Um, but yeah, my um, sorry, sorry, that was probably really nasty sounding. Ew, ew, that's probably pretty gross. I'm sorry. I need to make a memorial for my dad. But Shea Park in the city Starport, that's a memorial for my mom. So anyway, so getting back to my story and adoption and stuff. Um, oh my God. So um, years later, like after my parents passed away, I met my older sister. Tells me, "Oh hey Dave. Dave is my real name. You can see that when you log into the game. It's on the welcome screen. It's not a secret, so I'm not doxing myself. It's out there, right? Everybody knows I'm Dave Shea." My sister says, "Hey Dave, remember that girl that we used to live next door to that was my best friend when we were kids?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure." She's like, um, yeah, she had this experience where she discovered that her mother had these kids that we didn't know about. And the state that we grew up with has this law where you can find out this stuff. Like, what? What are you talking about? Or the case of like, what's happening? What you talking about, Willis? Like, what are you talking about? She starts telling me about this law that was passed in the state of my birth, where a person who is adopted can actually find out information about the circumstances of their birth. They can actually get their original birth certificate. So, my birth certificate, the one that I've ever seen, because I've seen my birth certificate, because I've had to use it to get jobs and passport and so on. It always said, David Shea. Not a secret. It's not a secret. It's out there. It's out there. You sign into the Core Mud welcome screen. It has my email address. You can go look it up online. You can find my name. It's out there. So I'm not doxing myself. It has to be. Sorry, it has to be out there in order for Core to be listed. Sorry, uh, in order for Core to be listed on certain listing sites. So my name has to be Oh my gosh, I'm having a little bit of the hiccups here. My name has to be out there. So I'm not doxing myself, but my name's out there. Everybody knows who I am. Everybody who plays my game, they know my name. It's okay. I don't like my full legal name with my middle name fully spelled out. I don't particularly like that out there, but that kind of goes with the territory, right? So if you're going to have your identity out there, then everything else is going to be out there too. So people know if they want to search, they can find my full first name, middle name, last name. I mean, it's available. It's out there. It's doxed. Okay, fine, whatever. Have a ball. Have a ball. Have fun. I will fuck with you if you fuck with me. Okay. So anyway, so this next door neighbor that was one of the best friends of my sister when she was a kid, she says, "Oh, by the way, did you know that the state that we were born in has this new law?" And my sister's like, what law are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? And this next door neighbor describes this law and says, "Oh, by the way, your younger brother might want to be interested in this information." So my sister calls me. She says, "Oh, by the way, um, I just had you remember so and so next door?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, yeah. I wasn't a friend or anything like that, but yeah, I remember you were friends with her." And she starts telling me about this stuff, all the stuff that happened um, in the last 2 decades where these laws were passed. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And she's like, "I'm going to give you the paperwork. You decide what you want to do with it. Pray to God, do whatever you want to do, but I'm going to give you the papers." So she sends me the papers in an email, and I'm looking at it. The papers is basically, if I want to, right, I can send in a like a scan or a picture of my driver's license of where I currently live, and I write out my signature on a form that says, "I attest that I am David Shea. I lived or I was born in this particular state, and I want to have a copy of my original, unredacted birth certificate." And I said, "You know what? I'm just going to send it in." I sat on this thing for about 2 months before I sent it in. Because I'm just like, um, I'm like completely emotionally drained by this whole thought of, what do I do if I get a response back? What if I do if I don't get a response back? And eventually, um, the thought occurs to me after praying for it and thinking about it for months. I'm like, you know what? F it. I'm going to put this thing to God. God is going to decide what happens, and what happens, happens. So I just sent it in. Here's what the crazy thing is, okay? Yeah, it's getting really light out behind myself. So I'm going to have to close my blind soon. So I send the papers in. I send in my little fee. It's like whatever, $25. It's like just nothing, right? A little fee, a scan of my driver's license, and my little signature saying I attest that I am David Shea. Great. Those of you who don't care. I don't care if you don't care. I don't care. Doesn't matter. This is my story. This is my story, and I'm sticking by it. so, so here's the crazy thing. So, when the law was first passed, the website that they had on their social services website said, "Oh, you're gonna wait lots and lots of weeks to get a response because we have such and such a black backlog of so many people that want answers to their questions about their the situation of their birth. Lots and lots of questions about people wanting to know about their birth certificate. I got mine back in 6 or 7 business days. So I go to my mailbox, I open my mailbox, and lo and behold, there is a letter from the state of my birth. I'm not going to say who, not going to say where, but I got a letter from them. And I go home, and I'm like, I'm shaking. I kid you not. Okay, so at the time I was in my late 40s, early 50s, and I'm shaking. I'm shaking. I have no idea what to expect when I open this envelope. I open this envelope, and inside, my original my original birth certificate, unredacted, and I see my original name. I see the name of my mother, my birth mother. I see the name of the doctor who delivered me. And I see that my name was Baby Boy. Okay. So my mother who adopted me, who was my mother for my entire life, she gave me a different name. She called me David. And you know why? She told me. She told me multiple times while she was alive. Do you know what she told me? She told me, um, she told me the story in the Old Testament about King David. And when the story of King David, right, the guy that, slain Goliath. Sorry, bear with me. When David was a king, right? Or before he was a king, right? He even before he was anointed, and he was. I actually have to think about the chronologically. He might have been anointed, but he was not yet the king. But when he went after Goliath, right? Um, the Old Testament said that the name David, this is my name, in that particular language, in the Jewish language, meant beloved. My mom said this to me repeatedly throughout my life. She said, and she told me from when I was a very young boy, she told me that, I was adopted and all that, but she told me it does not matter that you were adopted. She said, it does not matter because what she told me is that we adopted you because we wanted you. And she said, we gave you this name. Sorry I miss her. Anyway, so let's go. I was like, oh yeah, so let me talk about this story. So, what do you do, right? So, what do you do when you're an adopted person and you were adopted in one of these states that has passed these laws that I'm talking about? Well, there's an answer. So, what you do is you go to so first what you do is you go to the your state website, right? So in my case, I went to my state website. I didn't know where to go. Now my sister's childhood friend gave a clue as to where I could go, right? She even gave my sister the form that I could consider and fill out and mail back. Um, and that's eventually what I did after I prayed. And this was about a 2-month thing. I sat on it. I literally sat on it. I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, eventually, I threw up my hands. I'm like, you know what? Um, God Almighty, I don't want to do. I'm going to put it in your hands. And I'm just going to throw it up in your hands. I'm going to fill up the form. I'm going to mail it in. We'll see what happens. And whatever happens, you pick, right? Um, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. And within about under 2 weeks, I got a thing back in the mail. And it was from the state that I was born in, from their Department of whatever, social services, whatever you want to call it. And I take the thing home, and the privacy of my own home, I open the envelope and look at it. It's got my original birth certificate, and it says baby boy, original last name. I see the name of my birth mother. I see that the father is not named. It tells me right away I'm, buried. No, I was married. Sorry. I was born to an unmarried couple. Okay. So I had that information. There was the information about the name of the physician that delivered me. That's about it. That's all I had. So I'm looking at this and I'm scratching at this and I'm like, okay, what do I, you know, what do I do with this, right? What do I do with this information? So now I know for certainty that I was born. Sorry, I'm having a little emotional here. So I knew at this particular point, I suspected this prior to ever having gone down this path. But now I knew for a fact that I was born to an unmarried couple. And I knew that I predated evil Roe v. Wade. I predated to that. Therefore, I'm alive. Because I will guarantee you, if I was conceived a few years later, sorry, I would not be alive. No, I would not be alive. I was not married. Sorry, not I was not. My parents were not married. My birth parents were not married. And if I was conceived a few years later, no, you would not. There would be no Cormud at all. There would be no Cormud. There would be no Gray. I would not exist. And that was threatened. And to learn that later, as I'm about to explain to you in a little while. This video is going to be probably about another hour. I'm sorry. But yeah, it was my death was threatened, and my birth father was threatened that I would be killed, that I would be killed with an abortion. And obviously, I'm grateful that didn't happen. Grateful I'm still here. Without that, I would not have helped other people, and I would not be obviously hosting this channel for you. This is not exaggeration. I am not making a dramatic presentation. This is real. I was literally threatened with abortion, and I hope that YouTube doesn't ban this channel because I said that word. So anyway, let's keep going. So at this point, I have my birth certificate in my hand. I know the name of my birth mother. I know that I was not given a name myself. My name was Baby Boy. And I knew that my birth parents were unmarried, and considered that the time in question, where when I was born, there was no such thing as Facebook. There was no social media. There was no capability of looking somebody up. So I had nowhere to go. How do I find this woman? How do I find this my birth mother? How do I find her? So I'm searching. I can't find anything. I go back to my state website, and boom, I find on the same page where they have all the adoption stuff, I find a resource where they say, oh, by the way, we have these approved search agents. We've approved their fees. They are approved by the state. They cannot mess you over with fees because we have approved their fees, and they cannot mess with you. And you can talk to these particular people, and they are approved by the state, and they will have access, if you hire them. This is huge. They can unlock your sealed file with the state. They can unlock your sealed file to get access to the stuff that is sealed away that you cannot see from when you were adopted. They can get access to that stuff, and this is key. And if you are a person who is in a situation like me, and I had this conversation with a few people, and this is extremely, extremely crucial. If you're a person like me who is an adopted person, you need an a person like what I'm about to describe. This is crucial. This is very, very important for you. Okay. So I want you, if you're an adopted person, I want you to listen very carefully, and I need you to pay attention to what I'm about to say. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm a crazy person, but what I'm about to tell you is very, very important. Okay. So what this person can do for you is not only can they unseal your secret file and get access to the documents that were created at the time of your birth, like in my case, it's kind of hysterical actually. Oh, well, not hysterical, but it's a little humorous. All the documents that my adoptive parents filled out to acquire me, and they talked about their income. Like it actually had the car that my dad owned at the time and how much money he made at the time, and it was tiny, a tiny amount of money, but it showed how much he was willing to give to get me. Talked about his income, talked about my older sister, about how much she wanted a brother. I mean, all this stuff. I go back and I look at this 50 years later. I'm like, oh my God, these people wanted a son. And my mom, my adoptive mom, she um, was not discovered later in life until she got her cancer. Turns out she had a defect with her. I'm not going to say it. Her lady parts. So she had a problem with her lady parts. She could not have a. She could not have a child. She could. It was impossible for her to have a child. The fact that she had my older sister was a freak accident. She had multiple miscarriages after that point, and my sister had multiple problems with her lady parts. I mean, she had had multiple surgeries. Did not help out until she had IVR. IVR. You can look it up. It's the in vitro fertilization, where basically you have um, you know you have an embryo raised in the lab, and then that's put inside of the woman, and then uh, she's able to carry it to term. It's her child. It is biologically her, and I have a nephew who was born because of that technology. So it I appreciate that technology. Um, love my nephew. Anyway, there's a whole other story. There's a whole other story. Um, you know. So anyway, so um, so I have this discussion with my sister. My sister has told me about this situation. There's a whole other situation with respect to There's like a whole bunch of sunrise going on behind me. So there's this whole thing about what's going on with my sister's next door neighbor and with me. With we have different situations, but the idea is that you can hire this person. This person can get access to your secret file, and the important thing is that they can contact, if you have a surviving parent, a birth parent, they can contact them on your behalf anonymously. So they can call that person up or send them a letter and say, hey, I would like to ask you. So this is what happened with my birth father. Okay. So I hired a birth agent. So I hired this agent. It was like, oh gosh, what was it? Like $250. The best $250 I ever spent, because I did not have to go from Iowa, the middle of the United States, to the state that I will not name, that I was born in, to crawl through court records and so on, stuff that I could not possibly, as a mere human, I could not navigate this stuff. But she knew exactly where to go. And I kid you not, when I hired her, after I hired her, within, I want to say 7 business days, she called me back. So she's a very nice lady, very nice old lady. She's an adopted person like me. She told me her story. It was beautiful, genuine. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send you I'm gonna go ahead and send you the money. I'm gonna send you the contract. I'll sign you the contract. I'll send you the check. And 7 business days, I get a call back from her, and she said, "Dave, I kid you not, this is real. This is Dave. Dave, I just got off the phone with your birth father." I just got off your phone. I just got off the phone with your birth father. And I've got, dude, two business of two big pieces of news for you. So, number one, I'm sorry. Your birth mother has passed away. But you have alive, and we know their identities. You have 2 full blood younger sisters. In other words, they were given birth by your birth father and your birth mother, and they have been born, they were raised by them. You also have a full blood older brother, but we don't know where he is because he was given up for adoption like you were. So we don't know who he is or where he is, but we know about the 2 daughters, 2 sisters, and your birth father is still alive. And I spoke with him. She's telling me this information, and the crazy thing is that one of the articles that I read admonished us, or encouraged us, I should say, encouraged us to write a letter to our birth mother So I had written out a probably a 2 or 3 page letter um, from my birth mother, so that if she were identified, that would letter be sent to her. And then I discovered that, well, she passed away a couple decades ago. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? But my surgery said, um, if you wish to, I can I can arrange a telephone meeting with you and your birth father. Okay, let's do it. This was, so if you were to think about it, so I want you to, for the moment, I want you to think about it for a second, okay? So if you were to imagine that you did not know your birth father, just imagine, okay? Put yourself in my shoes just for a minute, and I know this. Yeah, my shoes suck, right? But put yourself in my shoes for a minute. So imagine that you're about to talk to a stranger, somebody you've never talked to in your life. You only know their name because a search agent just told you their name a couple hours ago or a couple days ago. So now I know the person's name. I know nothing about him. I know nothing about him other than what the agent told me. And you're about to have a conversation with this person for the first time. The person who was involved in your conception. Think about it. Just think about it for a second. Think about it. So this person you're about to talk to is your birth parent, one of your birth parents. You have not spoken with this person ever in my case about 50 years. And he isn't talking to me. All he knows is when the birth agent contacted him, she was deliberately vague at first. I'm sorry, there's like a freaking fruit fly fly in front of my face. So here's what happened, right? So she contacts him. She sends him a letter addressed to my birth mother, and I think he replied back or something saying, "Hey, she's passed away. You know, she's not going to be able to respond to your letter." And so she calls him, and she says, "Hey, would you happen to be married against? Were you happen to be married or involved in a relationship with this person X, who was my birth mother?" And he's cautiously replying to her. He's very cautious. Again, you got to think about the generation that we're talking about here. This is before Facebook. This is before LinkedIn. This is before all the social media. So these people back then did not put their stuff out there, right? Cautious, very, very cautious. And I don't blame the guy. I do not blame the guy. So he is talking to my search agent, and she has not yet identified her as my search agent. She's just identifying herself as, "Hey, I'm just trying to identify this particular woman. I want to find out about her." And he says, "Well, she's passed away." My search agent is like, "Well, can you you talk about, um, by any, by any chance, did you have a child together? And he starts figuring it out. It's like, excuse me, by any chance, are you talking about a possible adoption situation? And she's like, um, yeah, yeah, that's why I'm contacting you. I'm one. And so he starts figuring it out, and they eventually start talking to each other. And then she reveals, yes, I am calling about a child that you may have participated in conceiving, and that child is interested in having a conversation. That, okay, that is difficult for everybody, okay? For him and for me. And so he eventually said, okay, um, after he thought about it, he said, okay, I'm going to agree to a conversation with this guy. I have no idea who this guy is. I don't know what he wants. And so there was a little bit of a mix-up where we had the wrong phone numbers. We got that fixed. I finally got the right phone number. I called the guy. So I called him. I identified myself and said, hey, my name is David Shea. And that was identified by my search agent. So I gave approval to my search agent to say, okay, I'm going to call this guy. I'm going to identify myself. Go ahead and tell him my name. So I called him. Oh my gosh, this light behind my head. Oh, look at the morning sun. Oh my gosh, I've been talking too much. Shoot. You know what? It's okay. That's how these things go. So, um, I called the guy, my birth father, and I identify myself, and I say, my name is David Shea. And he says, okay, you started this. What do you want to talk about? You go first. Okay. And so I introduce myself. I tell him who I am. I tell him about my life. And I say, you know what? I don't want any money. I don't want anything from you. I am a independent man. All I want to know is the truth between the circumstance of my birth. That's all I want to know. I don't need anything else from you. Tell me the truth. And so he told me. So he told me about how he was a scared 18-year-old boy, unmarried, that he knocked up a 19-year-old girl, unmarried, and they were scared, and that she threatened to abort me, and she decided not to, put me up for adoption. There's this whole kind of scandal that happened in her family, and it did not end up well for her. So she did get into trouble with her family because of me in particular. But she put me up for adoption with a Christian agency, as I described earlier in this video. And obviously it went well with me. I explained to him my life. I talked about, okay, well, here's what happened to me after you gave me up for adoption. I'm going to describe how my parents, my adoptive parents, treated me. And here's my life. And I gave him a kind of like a snapshot or a sketch of my life. And we ended up, that was like about a 90-minute conversation that he and I had one-on-one. And it ended up with him saying, you know what? I think we made the right decision, and that you had a better life than she and I could have given you. But here's the best part. So I had an opportunity to go to that city. My company, about a year later, had a conference they sent me to, and they sent me to that particular city to attend a conference and present. Right, so I was going to man a booth, and I was going to give a presentation. I was going to speak. Yeah, Dave Shea, famous Hyperion guy, right? And so I sent him a text, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in your town next week. Hey, do you want to have dinner? Do you want to have coffee? What, I'm going to be here. Do you want to get together? And it turns out that he was available, and one of my full blood sisters was there. So after they gave me up for adoption, he got married to that woman, the woman that bore me, and they gave birth to 2 more girls. One girl 2 years younger, one year 4 years younger. The girl that's 4 years younger, happened to be available that particular night. This is awesome. Okay, I'm gonna finish this because this video is going way too long, way longer than I want. So, but I have to tell this story. I have to. So I said, okay, I'm gonna be in this hotel. I don't have a car, but I can walk to these various areas. I said, hey, let's. They said, okay, let's meet here. Like, okay, yeah, let's meet there. I can get there. I can walk there in about 10 15 minutes. So get off work from this customer, and I am nervous. Like, I am so nervous. I'm walking to this hotel restaurant where we're supposed to be having dinner together, and I can't even describe. It's impossible to describe the butterflies that are in my stomach. Like, I'm about to meet these strangers that I have these blood relationships with, right? So one of them is my blood father, right? I have half of his DNA. Okay. So this guy I've never met in real life, and this guy is my birth father. And then there's this woman that's going to be present who is my full blood sister. In other words, she's the daughter of my birth father, and she is the daughter of my birth mother. So she is a full blood relative. I've never had that in my entire life. So here's what happens, guys. I walk into the hotel. I walk up to the concierge, like the booth where the person who is checking people in and assigning their tables or whatever. And so I walk over there, and behind me I hear this voice. I hear sorry, I got this weird lighting thing behind me. I hear, David? I turn around. There's these 2 strangers. Got this older man and this young woman. They're looking at me. this woman. Sorry. I'm not faking this. I'm not doing a Kyle Rittenhouse, okay? This is real. This woman, she runs up to me and she gives me this freaking bear hug. She just gives me this bear hug, doesn't say anything. And I start crying. I'm like, and I say, "Are you my sister?" And she says, "Yes." Yeah, it's my youngest sister. So here's the crazy. Oh, sorry. Oh, this is hard. This is really hard. So we go and we sit down and have a dinner, and then I'm gonna finish the story with this, and then I'm gonna have to sit down, have a good cry, and go to sleep. Oh my god. So we sit down, we're starting to have our dinner, and I notice this woman. So she's 4 years younger than me. She is my youngest sister. Full blood. I've never experienced this in my life, right? In my life, I've only had an older sister. I had no blood relationship to, and by the way, I adore her. I had wonderful Thanksgiving with her yesterday. It's so freaking awesome. My sister is a freaking amazing cook. And her husband, my brother-in-law, he is freaking amazing. He cuts that turkey like nobody else. So, gosh, I'm probably the luckiest man on the face of the planet. So I have three mothers. I have three mothers, at least three, maybe four. I've got my birth mother, I've got my adoptive mother, I've my stepmother. So after my adoptive mother passed away with cancer, cancer, my dad remarried. He remarried. That woman is still alive. She's my stepmom, and of course I have Lady Theotokos is my other mother. So I am like 4 times blessed. So anyway, I'm having dinner with these people, right? These strangers, and this woman is asking me questions. She's actually grilling me. She's like, and this is funny. Like, one of the first things that she says to me, she's like, "Hey, Dave." Okay, imagine this, right? So, sorry, trying to figure out how to mitigate the light behind me. That's kind of making the. Let's see if I can fix. I'm gonna have to kind of close the blinds a little bit, maybe. Try to get some of the sun out. Kind of a pain in the neck. Okay. Yeah, it's not gonna do it very well. I'm gonna have to fix that. Anyway, so I'm having dinner with my full blood sister. I've never met her before in my life. And one of the first things out of her mouth is like, "Hey, tell me about your life." What do you, I'm sorry, what do you say to that? Really? What do you say to that? What do you say to somebody who says, hey, tell me about your life? What do you do? But here's the crazy thing. So I'm talking to her and she's staring at me. And it becomes really obvious after a little while. She's been staring at me, and she's staring at my eyes. Why is she staring at me? And I start looking back at her, and then it occurs to me, this is the only person that I've ever encountered in an entire lifetime. 50 years. This is the only person who has the same eye shape that I have. I've always hated the shape of my eyes. Like they've always looked kind of like, well, I've hated my eyes. I've hated the shape of my eyes for the entire duration of my life. And this woman has mine. And she's staring at me. And she says, Dave? Says, Dave, sorry, I'm trying to wait. Okay, there we go. There's the light coming back. She says, Dave, you have mom's eyes. What? What do you mean? You have mom's eyes. And you have our aunt's eyes. Like, who? And I'm staring at her. And she has my eyes. There's been nobody that I've ever encountered in my life that my eyes mirrored in her face. And later, when I went back to the hotel, and she started, sending me text messages and stuff. She sent me a text message of our birth mom when she was a kid, like a kindergarten or like not kindergarten, like an elementary school picture. Because I don't have very many pictures of my birth mom. Just like I only have like 2. Got the picture that my little sister sent me, and then I have a picture that was sent where it was suspected that she was pregnant, and we think that was me in her belly. We think so. And she's she was like a, what do you call it? A nursery school teacher. Sorry, what do you call it? It's gonna come to me, right? So the role that a person plays when they are taking care of kids while the parents are away, that type of a person, yeah, that word will come for me. So that's what she did as her profession. So she was a person that would take care of kids. When the parents had to go off to work, she would take care of the kids. And there was a picture of her pregnant, and we think that was me inside of her. And she was very, very full with child, shall we say. So anyway, so my little sister, which I have never, ever, ever have been able to say in the course of my entire life that I've had a little sister. Never been able to say that. I now have 2. I have 2 little sisters. They're both full blood. They are my birth father's blood, my birth mother's blood, and I have their blood, and we're all related. Yeah, we don't agree on anything. So, my little sisters and I we come from completely different worlds. Okay, but I just appreciate that I got to know them, and that I got to know that they're alive. I have this older brother, full blood. I don't know who he is. I am kind of reluctant to fill out the what is it called, the DNA site, right? Kind of reluctant to do that because I really don't think that these big companies ought to have possession of my DNA. I don't think that they deserve that. So hopefully this man will come to learn of what I learned, and that he can get the information just by filling out. I mean, it's like $25. $25. You don't have to give up your DNA. You don't have to give anything. You just give $25 and a photocopy of your driver's license to prove your identity, and that's it. You don't give away your DNA. You give away any of that, right? You send it into the state of your birth, and you're going to get that information in within, like I said, within about 7 business days. Don't give away your stuff to these big corporations where, what are they going to do with it? Right? What are they going to do with that information? You think they're going to keep it secret? Are they going to keep your information safe? No. I've been betrayed by LinkedIn, Facebook, Yahoo, these other big corporations. I've been betrayed by them. They promised to keep my stuff safe, and they did not. Anyway, I'm ending this recording. This was way too long. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you found it entertaining, but I especially hope you found it educational and you got something out of this. And if you're an adopted person like me, you need to get a search agent who will help you anonymously with respect to, because there will be some parents, some birth parents will say, no, I do not want contact. And that's okay. You know what happens in that particular case? You are still protected. So what happens is, if, let's say, you're an adopted person, and let's say your birth parents decide, whether it's, maybe you only have one left. Like in my case, right? My birth mother passed away over a decade ago, and I have just a birth father. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that he does not want to have any kind of contact. Now, fortunately, that didn't happen with me, but let's pretend that you're in a situation where you have a birth parent that does not want any contact with you whatsoever. They want their privacy, they're embarrassed, they're whatever. They just don't want any contact with you. You're still protected, because in these particular states where these laws have been passed that allow this type of contact to be possible, then what happens is that the search agent is able to say, okay, we're going to respect your wishes, but you must abide by the state law, which says if you deny contact, which is perfectly your right, you are perfectly within your right to deny contact with the child, you must provide health information. You must provide health information that talks about what the child has inherited. So if you have a history of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, whatever the case may be, you must disclose this information if you're going to deny contact. You must disclose this information so that information can be passed on to the child, and the child can know what it is that they might genetically have to deal with. Okay, so if for no other reason, if you are an adopted person and you are worried about your medical history, do this. Go through a search agent, pay the money. It's worth it. Again, I paid about $250. I would drop that again in a heartbeat, folks. I would drop it in a heartbeat to know that information, because I did learn some things that impact me, and there is one thing I learned that did scare me, that I have to deal with. So I'm not going to talk about it on this channel, but anyway, guys, if you're an adopted person, do this. Go through a search agent. Do it through the agent. Don't try to do it yourself. All right. Bye-bye.